suicides. So I never thought that I could say things have actually gotten better, but that's way down from where we was, but we still got a long ways to go. So I want to make sure everyone of y'all understand that and hear it. First thing we want to do is approve the minutes, and I'll turn this over to Vice Chair Pettis Reed.
Mr. Chairman, I've read through those minutes, and I find no problems. I move they be approved.
All right, we have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a second, Commissioner Johnson. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Let's move on. We have to fill 3 vacancies for the CCRC board, terms to expire July of 2021. We have 4 applications for this. I'm going to let them speak, and we will be voting on 3. So there's 4 applicants, and we're voting on 3. So is Ms. Usselton here?
No, 3 of them are incumbent.
3 of them are incumbents?
Yeah.
Which one's not?
Ms. Usselton, Ms. Elam, and Mr. Bodery. I mean, not Elam, Lyles. Mr. Lyles, Bodery, and Usselton.
Who's this Michael?
Mike Curtis, he's TIS, who's sitting right
Oh, Mike, come on up. Tell us a little bit about you and why you want to be on the board, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome.
My name is Mike Curtis. I live at 4900 Christiana Road, approximately 2 miles. Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
Is that any better? Thank you. My name is Mike Curtis. I'm a longtime member of the community. I live at 4900 Rucker Christiana Road, approximately 2 miles from Community Care of Rutherford County. I have long time been interested in elderly care through the work of my wife, who was a nurse practitioner working in the NHC facility here in Murfreesboro back when I met her. And that's when I was an EMT working with Regional Ambulance Service. 25 years later, come this year, we're celebrating our 25th anniversary. I'm still wanting to be interested in things like that, and we have been doing various things at Community Care with some of during the COVID times is where we could with our Jeep Club. We've been doing drive-by parades for them. I've been to at least 2 of those, and I am interested in doing that, but I've also noticed that the 3 current board members, who all seem to be very well qualified and seem to be doing a very good job, and I am happy to just step down and let you just vote for all 3 of them, Mr. Chairman.
Are you withdrawing?
Yes, sir. That's basically what I'm doing, is I'm just withdrawing, but I want to be able to let you all know that I am interested in not only this committee, but other committees in the future. And you will be seeing me. Yes, sir. I will withdraw my name from consideration, because they've been doing a great job.
Okay. Mr. Stevens?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll make a motion that we send all 3 of the applicants to the full commission with a positive recommendation.
We have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a second. Commissioner McAdoo? Can I say, is this one? Oh, can I say it? Everybody in favor?
Yes, you say.
Yeah. Everybody in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Let's move on. Next up on our agenda is fill 2 vacancies for the IDB board and the Health and Education Facilities Board. We have 4 applicants. They are Edwin Davenport, Tara McDougall, Misty Foy, and Gary Wisniewski. Got it. All right. Is Miss McDougall here? Would you like to come up and tell us about you and why you want to be on the IDB board?
Commissioners, good evening. I'm Tara McDougall, and I appreciate the opportunity of speaking with you tonight in the hope that you will recommend me that I continue serving as a member of the Industrial Development Board As a graduate of Leadership Rutherford and Leadership Middle Tennessee, I know firsthand that Rutherford County is a special place to live. But I also know that we have very similar economic development goals as many other forward-looking counties in Tennessee and elsewhere in the country. One is developing a globally competitive workforce, especially for hard-to-fill STEM-related jobs. And another is growing our revenue-generating tourism industry. As the CEO of Discovery Center and a member of the Tennessee Science Alliance, which has successfully lobbied our state legislature for financial support of our state's wonderful science centers, promoting informal STEM education and partnering with our school systems is at the heart of what I do. When I seek support from industry leaders, they are always very interested to hear about young people advancing in STEM careers that cite their experiences at the old Discovery House or the Discovery Center as the reason that they chose their career path. Perhaps you know of some such examples, and if you do, please share them with me and they could be on our next video. With regard to the growing tourism sector of our economy, as a current member of the Chamber's Convention and Visitors Bureau and a past Chamber Board member, I know very well the high benefit to cost ratio of cultivating our local tourism industry. I believe that as Rutherford County continues to grow and change, and as we work hard to create more opportunities for everyone here, we can do this important work while maintaining the special character and family-friendly traditions that we all value. My integrity, experience, and commitment to serving on this board, to continue serving on this board, will be an important component of the ongoing impact of the Industrial Development Board. And I shared with you last time, we moved to Rutherford County in 1994. And been married for, I hate to tell you how long, but 40 years next year celebrating, and we have 3 children that all went to school here. So I look forward to continuing my service, and thank you for your support.
Do we have any questions? Ms. McDougall, I do. I have some. And this question that I ask you, for anybody else that's out there, it's for them as well. How do you feel that the IDB board should be more cautious as in taking tax-deferred companies when we have such a growing county? So my question is, do you feel that as much as we're growing, the tax deferment should be less?
I feel that the tax deferment is really important as we continue to stay in competition with peer states, and we very carefully weigh each and every one that comes before us, but it does play a vital role in the continued growth of our county and offering higher paying jobs. I want my children to stay in Rutherford County.
So you believe that if we are going to give tax deferments to a growing county, that those jobs should be able to afford our housing, be able to afford to live here?
Yes, sir, and that is a challenge that is being faced across our country right now, and that is something that we do have to work on.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Everybody good? Thank you. Is Edwin Davenport here? Come on up, sir.
Good evening. Thank you. My name is Edwin Davenport. I'm a lifelong resident of Rutherford County. For the last 12 years, I have been on the IDB. I appreciate the opportunity to serve that. Previously, I served with Alan back a long time ago. Back in the 80s, we were on the county commission. It was the commission and not the old county court, so it didn't go back quite that far. Alan, you maybe did. See, Alan's a little older than me, a year. I've been involved in with the Planning Commission in Smyrna. I've just been involved my entire life here. I have seen the county grow. I have seen the benefits of supporting economic development early on, especially in the early 80s with Nissan and the tremendous impact that it had. And one of the reasons we got Nissan here was the full support of the county commission. And bottom line today, you have to continue to do those things. I think the county commission, the way they have set up the rules for the IDB, that we can approve deals as long as there is at least a 3-to-1 ratio of benefit to expense. If it's not that, it has to come to the county commission every time, which is the way that it used to work when I was on the county commission. So that's one thing. One, it is financially feasible, the deals that we do. The other thing is it broadening the economy and the workforce here and the opportunities. As Ms. McDougall said, I want to see my grandchildren be able to graduate, go to school here, and continue to work here. And the only way you do that is continue to increase the job base. The other part of that is, if you ask the local economic recruiters, they know if the jobs they're bringing is not an increase to the median income, then there are, it's less chance of that being approved. There would have to be some other reason, and there's not many of those. So I appreciate the opportunity that y'all have given me. I know June's a busy month for y'all with everything you have to do. If you have questions, I'm here to answer.
Do I need to repeat the one I asked Ms. Dugal?
Probably, yes, sir.
Okay. My question is that on a county that's growing 29 people a day
Sir?
in this county,
Yes, sir.
do you feel that we should be more cautious of giving away tax deferments?
As a member of the IDB, let me take issue with giving away, because I think if you will look at our deals, which are normally 5 to 7 year deals, that during that 5 to 7 period of time, even with the deferment, we will be collecting more tax dollars than if we didn't do the deal. A lot of the properties that are involved are even in the Greenbelt and are not producing that much to the county as far as a return. We're not giving away tax dollars that we're already collecting. We are delaying tax dollars that we will collect in the future. So I think it is an economically viable process. And the other thing is, I just don't think we get the jobs if we don't do it. That's the competitive nature of where we are in this country. So that's my answer, yes, sir.
So what kind of jobs are those?
What do you mean?
Well, you said that you don't think we could get the jobs. What kind of jobs are those?
I don't think we can get any jobs without the support of some type of economic development activity.
Well, my question is, I don't feel that we should be giving tax deferments to companies who create jobs which cannot afford housing or to live in Rutherford County.
Well, one of our criteria that we do look at is these jobs are at a level that are at least the median income of the county as it exists right now or better. That's one thing we look at on every single deal that comes here.
Yes, well, the reason that I'm asking these questions is because I was involved with Wolverine, and that's one of where I kind of felt like that we were giving a deferment to someone who was bringing jobs who couldn't afford to live here in Rutherford County. I'm not drilling you,
No.
I'm just trying
The
to, I'm
reason
just
I-
trying to get an idea. We have 4 people here, and I'm trying to get an idea how people stand. And I asked this question of all 4.
I know, and I don't take any offense at it at all. Fact is, I didn't prepare a speech. I came to answer any questions that y'all might have and gladly do it. So no issues with that whatsoever.
Okay. Is there any questions? None? Okay.
Thank
sir.
y'all.
Is Misty Foy here? Okay. Is Gary Wisnowski here? I got him fired up. Hey, Gary. Thank you, sir.
Paul, thank you for the invite to come speak before you and to make my application for the IBD board. My name is Gary Wisniewski. I currently reside at 4209 Emerald Drive here in Rutherford County. I moved to Rutherford County 32 years ago. I'm married, have 3 children that were educated here in Rutherford County. Since I've moved here, I've been in the building and development business throughout all of Middle Tennessee. We develop in all of Rutherford County, all of Wilson County, Davison County, Sumner County, Williamson County, and now going into Bedford County. Because of that, I've got some experience and some knowledge with developing over 100 subdivisions of housing, of needs that we have in the area, and also where we have a need for smart growth. I believe the IDB board is critical in bringing in the jobs and the companies that we need to supply not only a diverse economy, but also a healthy economy. As we know, Rutherford County and Middle Tennessee is growing leaps and bounds, and I'm very concerned about the smart growth, or in some cases that I've seen as we're building neighborhoods, the lack of smart growth to where some things aren't being looked at from the 30,000-foot view. Very much so on companies moving in and things being developed, we want to make sure that we grow smartly, not just grow in numbers. We want to make sure that we're looking at it from that 30,000-foot view, that we can not only sustain that business and those jobs for a short period of time, but how does it look 10, 20, 30 years from now? Also, is it an industry that we really need in our area that would help us in a down economic time? Having been through the downturn of 2006 through 12, we've seen, because of our diverse economy, even though the water lowers all the boats, we didn't sink as far as some other places because we do have a diverse background and a diverse economy. That's very important to me to see that as we move forward. So I would appreciate your recommendation for the board, and I'm here to answer any questions.
Is there any questions?
I just have one, and I would love to ask this question to every applicant, but I can't because you're the only one that builds houses. So I don't think they can answer this. I know you build a lot of houses, a lot, in several counties. What's the average price of the homes you build?
Our average this year is hovering around a 425 mark.
Okay.
To where just a year ago, it was probably a 365, 375.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
All right, we got 4 applicants. We have 2 positions. It's going to be 2 votes. The first one is going to, we're voting for 3 people. 3. And then the second vote, we'll get it down to 2. So your applicants are Edwin Davenport, Tara McDougall, Misty Foy, and Gary Wisnowski. So Rachel, you start.
Commissioner Stevens.
Davenport, McDougall, and Wisnowski.
Commissioner McAdoo. Commissioner Rather,
Davenport, McDougal, Foy.
Commissioner Johnson,
Davenport and Woninsky.
one more.
What's the other names?
Got McDougal and, or Foy. You've already voted for Davenport or Wiskowski.
McDougal.
McDougal, okay. Commissioner Reed,
Davenport, Wisniewski, and McDougal.
Chairman Harris.
Wisniewski, McDougal, and Davenport. It's pretty unanimous, isn't it? Okay. Now we're voting for two. We're voting for two. Go ahead.
Commissioner McAdoo, Commissioner Johnson,
Davenport and Woninsky.
Commissioner Reed,
Davenport and Wisniewski.
Commissioner Stevens,
Davenport and McDougal.
Commissioner Rather,
Davenport, McDougal.
Chairman Harris.
Davenport and Wisniewski. Should be 3-3. 3-3? Okay. All right. This committee, we have a 3-3 tie on Wisniewski and McDougal. So here's what we're going to do. We will send both of them to the floor and let the, since we don't have a tiebreaker, we're going to send them both, all three, to the floor for the county commission race. For the county commission meeting. So Davenport has the recommendation from this board. And then we send Wisniewski and McDougal on a deadlock committee.
Okay.
So we meet next Thursday. You will both be put on the floor, McDougal and Wisniewski. 2 Thursdays.
Well, the 17th.
Yeah,
Yes.
on the 17th. So you probably want to be there on that.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
this is kind of silly, but Gary, can you pronounce your last name? Because I've heard 3 different pronunciations. Okay, thank you. Sorry.
Okay, Gary, Ms. Dougal, do y'all understand that? Y'all understand? Okay?
Mr. Chairman, what time is that meeting?
6 o'clock. All right. Let's move on. I need to announce the retirement of Judge McFarland. He has wrote a letter that he would like me to read. And I will read this to everyone. To my dearest fellow public servants, it is with deepest emotions I humbly submit this letter of resignation for General Sessions Judge Part 1 so that I may officially retire as of October 1st, 2021. I have been blessed beyond all measures to have served the citizens of Rutherford County for the last 22 years. My retirement date will allow me to complete 23 full years. I also want to take this opportunity to thank you for your contributions for the citizens of Rutherford County. This is the best place in the nation to live, and that is not by accident. It has taken much forethought, planning, and hard work on your part. With my family's history of public service, I know you are truest and purest public servants. Further, I wish to thank you for the support you have given me in the General Sessions Courts. My position has allowed me to establish Veterans Treatment Court, Domestic Violence Court with your help. I sincerely hope those will continue. May God bless you. Judge Ben Hall McFarland. With that announcement, this committee will have to recommend a applicant to finish out his term until the election. So next month, right now, I'm announcing anybody that's interested in Judge McFarland's position that we are now taking applications, and we will address this next month. All right? Any questions? He said his official is October 1st, but I believe he's stepping down this month. I could be wrong on that, but I think I am. Okay, let's move on. We want to announce a planning commission vacancy. Chip Pinion, term to expire August of 21. This is just an announcement. This position will be appointed by the mayor. Any questions? Moving on. Residential development tax, school facilities tax, second reading. I have read this.
Litigation.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys. All right. You have on your iPad, you have a list of all the litigations that we're in right now. Is there any questions? Okay, I have one. Mr. County Attorney, I am interested in the bail bonds lawsuit, and appreciate if you could kind of let us know where we're at on that.
Yes, sir, Chairman Harris, thank you. That is a lawsuit that has been filed by, I believe, 6 different bail bonding companies, local bail bonding companies. They have filed it against Rutherford County and the General Sessions Court, as well as various state defendants. And the primary allegation and claim against Rutherford County alleges that our pretrial release program that was instituted, I believe, almost 2 years ago now, violates the bail bonding company's constitutional rights to make a living. And the allegation goes that by affording individuals the opportunity to get out of jail as opposed to setting secured bonds for their release, they're no longer able to write as many bonds as they previously were able to. We have filed a motion to dismiss the complaint. After we did that, the plaintiffs amended their complaint, and we have now filed a second motion to dismiss that, and we're waiting for the court to make a ruling on that, and we're hopeful that that gets dismissed. Also, just another note, earlier today, another case on your list, KZO Properties. That was a case that arose out of a planning commission proceeding from January that involved a denial of a subdivision plat. There was discussion about the sprinkler ordinance, etc. At any rate, I filed a motion to dismiss that, and the plaintiffs have agreed to do that, so that'll be taken off the list.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions? All right, let's move on. The next one is the residential development tax, school facilities tax, second reading. We have already read this. We've already passed this through the motion. We had to do two readings, and I'm asking for a motion to send this to the Main Commission for its second reading. Do I have a motion? Commissioner Johnson, do I have a second? I have a second, Commissioner Stevens. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Let's move on. Next on your list is Middle Tennessee Electric. They have postponed this, so we will not listen to this until the August meeting. Next is an amendment to the redistricting. Yeah, I'll get to it. Let's go back to number 9. I'm sorry. So much on here, I can't hardly read it. This is school facilities tax collection policy. Now, what this is is if the second reading goes with a 2/3 vote on the facilities tax, then we'll begin in July 1st, starting to apply the $1 per square foot tax. I'm going to have Tanya come up, who's head of our codes department, and she is going to explain to you that the application that we're going to use for this. Thank you.
Good evening, board members. You have in front of you, I also set a paper copy of this policy on each of your, in front of you there, so you would have a paper copy to go along with. I'm not going to read the whole thing out. This policy, it is required in the law, the County Powers Relief Act, that this policy be adopted alongside the law. So this is a policy that we've written that will lay out the terms in which the tax will be collected. So I'm going to run through the high points for you, unless you want me to read the whole thing. What would you prefer? Just go through the high points, and then if you have any questions or anything, we can go over them afterwards. You'll notice on the first page, about a third of the way down, there's a bold print paragraph, and that addresses the existing development tax, and I'm going to read that to you just so it's clear. The SFT, which is the school's facilities tax, will not apply, be assessed, be collected, or otherwise be enforced as to any lot or lots, unit or units, or other residential development in a final plat that is recorded prior to July 1, 2021. Said lot or lots and unit or units shall be grandfathered and shall only be subject to the provisions of the Rutherford County Development Tax Act and not the SFT. Except as provided in the immediately preceding sentence, no residential development shall be subject to the Rutherford County Development Tax Act beginning July 1st, 2021. Basically what that's saying is that any plat that was recorded prior to July 1, 2021 will not apply to the school facilities tax. That will be grandfathered in to the old development tax. Does anybody have any questions on that before I move forward?
Yes. Can you please reiterate that we will not be collecting a square footage tax and a development tax at the same time?
That is correct. We will not collect those two taxes on any lot in Rutherford County. If the plat was recorded prior to July 1, 2021, the only payment that will be collected prior to a building permit being issued is the remainder of the development tax that's due, which is typically $750. The only lots that this SFT will apply to as of July 1st is any plat that is recorded after July 1st or any building permit issued on a private tract of land or something that's not in a subdivision after July 1st of 2021.
Commissioner Rather?
The one in front of me that you just read is different than the one on here. So
Me?
I understand that this one may be the correct one, the one's on here.
My apologies. We went through about 25 versions of this before we came to the final one, so I'm going to reread this. Beginning July 1, 2021, the school facilities tax shall be applicable to all residential development in Rutherford County for which a plat has not been recorded in the Register's Office of Rutherford County, Tennessee on or before June 30th, 2021. The Rutherford County Development Tax Act shall not be applicable to any residential development in Rutherford County subject to the school facilities tax. And for residential development subject to the school facilities tax, the school facilities tax shall be the exclusive privilege tax assessed by Rutherford County. All residential development for which a plat has been recorded in the Register's Office of Rutherford County, Tennessee on or before June 30th, 2021 shall remain subject to the provisions of the Rutherford County Development Tax Act and shall not be subject to the school facilities tax. That makes much more sense.
Is that your question? Okay.
All right, moving on, we've applied some definitions that apply to the law to include building, development, floor area, and residential, which is addressed in the policy. Also, the exceptions for which the school facilities tax doesn't apply. For example, public buildings, places of worship, barns or other agricultural buildings, replacement buildings or structures for previously existing buildings and structures that were destroyed by fire or natural disaster, a building or structure owned by a nonprofit or corporation that is qualified 501c3 under the Federal Internal Revenue Code. Applicability, on the second page, we've listed all the areas where the SFT will apply, and I'll go down through them, and if you have any questions, we can talk about them. A new single-family dwelling will apply at $1 per square foot. An additional dwelling unit, which means a second dwelling on the same parcel, will also apply at $1 per square foot. Mobile homes, also $1 per square foot. A new addition to a single-family dwelling would be $1 a square foot. Accessory structures with living space in them, for example, if someone builds a garage with an apartment or living space above it or attached to it, that new living space will be assessed at $1 a square foot. Townhomes and duplexes, $1 a square foot. Apartment buildings would be $1 a square foot, and assisted living facilities at $1 a square foot. Long-term living hotel units would also be $1 a square foot. Those last three, apartment buildings, assisted living facilities, and long-term living, the $1 a square foot only applies to the residential area within those buildings. So it would only apply to the units themselves.
Any questions? We are looking for a motion to send this to the full commission. Do I have a motion? I have a motion from Commissioner Johnson. Do I have a second? I have a second from Commissioner Reed.
I have a couple of questions for things we didn't get to.
Sure. Sorry about that.
I see on here that the county is going to do the tax collection, so if somebody in Laverne or Smyrna or Murfreesboro wants to get their permit, they're going to have to come to the county first and then go back to the city.
Which they currently do anyway for the development tax, but yes, they will have to.
And so they're going to come back again for the county on the back end?
Yes, they will, but we do offer an online option to submit your application and take payment over the phone.
Have we looked into the cities doing the collection for us so we don't have to come back to our office? And that way it's more of a one-stop shop?
We did not, and I will, where did Mayor Ketron go? I will defer that to Mayor Ketron. The reason we didn't do that is because in order for them to collect it, we would have to offer them some of the proceeds of it.
Okay. But if it's easy online, then I just want to try to figure out a way to keep
Right, we've got several different options for them to do it. They can come in if they want to in person. They can do it via email, or they can do it via an online portal.
And then what happens if, like, a city issues the certificate of occupancy accidentally before the tax is paid? Is there any kind of recourse against the city where the county can collect the funds, or how do we get our money?
Not against the city, no. What I plan to do is some random checks. We will go through old development tax. We'll be able to see the first half that's been paid. We'll be able to go through the old receipts and see where there hasn't been a second payment collected, and we will then check with the jurisdiction. If the CO has been issued, then we will go after the person that the application was issued to.
So has this been communicated with the cities?
Yes. Yes, I've had several meetings with the building officials of Smyrna, Murfreesboro, and Laverne, and Eagleville.
Okay.
Any other questions? We have a motion. I got a second. So go ahead, Rachel. I want this to be on the record. Thank you, Tanya.
Commissioner Reed,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Rather,
Yes.
Commissioner McAdoo, Commissioner Stevens.
Yes.
Chairman Harris.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right. Next on the agenda is amendment to the redistricting committee resolution. Gentlemen, what this is CTAS has informed us that we should have the Director of Election Commission on our committee. We are asking to amend this resolution to add him and Mike Curtis to be part of the committee, but there will be no voting rights. but the resolution is asking to bring this to the main commission, is that we are asking for a positive recommendation to include Mike Curtis and Alan Farley as members of the committee with no voting rights. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I so move.
I have Commissioner Reed. Do I have a second? Commissioner Johnson. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? All right. Let's move on. Next on is medical director vacancy application. I'm going to let Commissioner Reed address this. It came out of his committee, and he's asking for a positive recommendation. Commissioner Reed, go ahead.
If you'll let me stand up on this, I seem to operate a little bit better standing up than sitting down. Gentlemen, you have this in your iPad if you'd like to take a look at it, but some of you may not be aware that Dr. Russ Galloway will be stepping down as the official medical examiner here in Rutherford County. And to do that, we have to appoint a new one or select a new one. And to do that, there's a lot of qualifications to go to. There's a lot of different things that they're responsible for, and people do not realize that either. And we found this out, I guess you could say, last year and the early part of this year when we were dealing with the ambulance situation. But I'd just like to read the purpose, if I could, and that way it'd be a thorough explanation as far as responsibility of the medical examiner in Rutherford County. The purpose of this classification is to provide clinical oversight of pre-hospital treatment rendered by the Rutherford County Emergency Medical Service System, which includes Rutherford County Emergency Medical Services, Murfreesboro Fire and Rescue, Rutherford County Fire and Rescue, City of Laverne Fire and Rescue, Rutherford County Emergency Management Agencies, and all personnel practicing under the physician's license of the EMS Medical Director. The EMS Medical Director has responsibility to provide oversight and direction for the medical aspects related to planning, development, amplification, and evaluation of the emergency medical system in Rutherford County, Tennessee. Duties and responsibilities include supervising assigned employees, supervising all aspects of and for the medical components of systems of care supported by public policy that integrate or interface with emergency medical service system, and this includes all within Rutherford County, as I have read there. So what we're asking here is that we have the approval of this request for qualifications that will go before the full commission next week and have its approval there, and that way we'll go into the interview process for selecting this medical examiner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. All right, we need a motion to send this to the floor. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I so move.
Commissioner Reed, do we have a second?
Second with one question.
Go ahead.
The question is, will this be reevaluated as far as additional responsibilities as far as the salary grade is concerned in HR?
Mayor, you want to answer
With
that?
additional responsibilities, naturally, you know.
Well, there has been, thank you, Mr. Chairman, there's been some thought process that we probably need to offer more. Kind of waiting to see what the City of Murfreesboro is going to do, because they too had the same medical director for the city, where they're really not required to have one by code. Tennessee code is the only governmental entity required to have a medical director. They just chose to have one themselves. We would like to just to have one to where everybody operates off of the same I guess procedures here in the county. When somebody arrives on the scene, that the same protocols are the same for all the agencies. I believe that there are several, and Mr. Chairman, you may want to call Director Hudgens up. He's talked to folks because there is interest from St. Thomas. There's interest from our facility at Stonecrest. I believe they have a meeting with Mr. Caputo at Stonecrest, they have an interest in whoever that person may be. He has someone who's a former EMS medical emergency room doctor who says that he's willing to do it for free. I haven't confirmed that yet, but I like the sound of that, but might get Director Hudgens to come and see if he can give any insight on whether or not we need to come back to the commission and ask for more money if somebody is requesting that to be the medical
My only concern
director.
is that we need the capability of hiring the best, most qualified person. And,
Yes, sir.
you know, if we need to reclassify that thing, so be it.
Sure.
You know, but we need the best qualified person for this position. So I don't think, dollar-wise, it should stand in the way.
Sure.
That's my own personal opinion.
I believe Carl and Chris are both going down to meet with Stonecrest tomorrow, and probably already met with St. Thomas as well. If you'd like to suspend the rules to allow him to come up, Mr. Chairman.
Sure. Carl, you want to come up?
Mr. Chairman, while he's coming up there, let me just say, Dr. Galloway has been one of the best I think you would find anywhere as far as working with this county and the cities around here. Very involved, very much watching out for these individuals, and always available whenever they needed them. So we want another one just like him.
All right. Director Hudgens?
Thank you.
All right, I have a motion and a second. This is to send these qualifications to the full commission. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. That concludes, yeah, I was. That concludes our agenda. Is there any other business? All right, I want to make, I'm sorry. Are you on the agenda? Oh, that's right, I'm sorry, it's other business. This is, come on up, Mr. Bratcher. This is Mr. Bratcher, who's on the beer board. And he has asked me he wanted to address an issue that they are having. And if you don't mind, go ahead and,
reason I contacted Mr. Harris, but I also have talked to Nick, county attorney. Recently, we have had some applications that's come for the beer board that gives us some concern due to various reasons I spoke to Nick about, and I really don't want to get too much into the legalities of it, but we have the beer laws are set by the state. So I don't know, and we don't know. I wanted to kind of come tonight and get the ball rolling with this thing. If it's something that one of the TCA codes possibly may have to be addressed that way, then, you know, we want to kind of get the ball rolling to where we need to be before the state legislature comes back into session in January. We would approach them. I have briefly spoken with Representative Sparks and all our county state legislature to kind of make them be aware if we may be coming with this. It may be something that, you know, after we get with Nick, you know, it may be something that we I don't know, we can do here just within the county is just, I know in the past, I've served on that board, we have had some issues, and, it was, we had to tweak some stuff through the legislature and addressed our, those situations. So I just wanted to come tonight to let the steering committee know that after I spoke with Nick, I think getting the ball rolling, if it'll give us some time, maybe we may have something we can come back with y'all next month to say, hey, this is what we found out, this is how we need to approach this, and then we'll know to give you more information on how we need to go forward. After speaking with, if it's a situation where, when I spoke with our county delegation from the state, if it's something that we have to change in a TCA code, they wanted something in a resolution from the county commission to them, and then they could, take it to their appropriate committees and run the bill however they need to do it. So I just wanted to come to you tonight and kind of make you aware of this situation and what we're kind of dealing with a little bit. I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Are there any questions? Commissioner Rather?
I have one. I'm not real sure. You mentioned not getting into the legalities. Is there a legality that pertains to an application for the beer board that you could not at least give us an example of what the issue really is, or an example of an issue?
Okay, I'll try to give you an example best I can. I just want to. Without mentioning any names, we just, I think it, we have been on the beer board, sometimes we discuss some things, when you say moral turpitude, that's wide and broad. And, but I think the issue that, that's kind of gave us some concern now, and we had an applicant that, and after we, a lot of things when we have a concern about something, I currently chair it. All our meetings are done through the clerk's office. So Lisa called me, and definitely directed her to our county attorney to make sure we do everything legally. And Nick does a great job. By all things with this application, by law, it was all legal, so we had to give the permit. That being said, though, without going in great detail, this applicant had a lengthy criminal record, had a current DUI, which by law that does not come under moral turpitude. It's in the law. This person did not have a driver's license, and they had a current pending warrant at the time that we issued the permit. So with all these concerns, but by law, we had to issue that permit. Now, I guess we all have our own opinions, but I think as a board member, I think that when we make a decision, we represent Rutherford County and this commission when we serve on those boards, and I think everybody does a great job and tries to. I think when you make a decision, when you approve a application or you deny one, I think that the board members need to leave there thinking or knowing that they did the right thing. In the past applications, some that we've received, they've had some issues like this right here, and I think it is an issue, and I think it's something that we need to address. And I tell, over the years I've been on this board, I tell applicants when they come, and you, the commission, the beer board, like I said, I've been on that thing like 27 years, since 1994, so y'all haven't had a lot of problems, so y'all never hear anything, but, I tell applicants all the time, I don't think they really realize when they apply for a beer permit, the responsibility they're really asking for, because it's a lot of responsibility. I don't think they know that until, everything's all good till something happens. And so, I tell them all the time when they're there, we want them to be successful. We want all applicants to be successful. When they're successful and their business is successful, that brings in tax dollars to this county. But we want them to, we want it to all be legal. So, I think I've kind of give y'all a gist of some of the applications and some issues that we have, and so I think, when we got with Nick, we wanted to see how we need to address this and what if anything that we can do so we don't kind of get ourselves in this position.
Mr. Chairman, we're not going to resolve this tonight, and I think the beer board, Chairman Bratcher and Nick can work on this so further.
Yes.
It's a huge concern of mine, because if the beer board's approving beer permits without knowing criminal history and outstanding warrants and all that, that's an issue. And if we approve an applicant that has that history, they're not only selling beer to underage kids, they're selling vaping supplies, everything else that's illegal for minors to have in their possession and use. So it goes beyond beer, a can of beer. So, Mr. Chairman, I think if it's okay with you, you can think about it next month's agenda, ask Mr. Bratcher back, or at least have Mr. Christensen give us an update where we're going with this, because it's a serious issue that, in my opinion, it's wrong for a lot of people, but if they're into that kind of activity, it's affecting kids, and that's a huge issue with me.
Yeah, it very well could. I'm at the, I don't know how how it'll go. I'm not saying just because someone has maybe a past criminal history, could be a long time ago, I don't think we need to hold that against them forever. But I will say, when we do take an application, the clerk's office, they make the applicant aware, and we do a background check. That's how we find out, what we find out. So, I think it does come to a thing where, it's all about being responsible, and, your character. And if you're responsible in yourself, then we're giving you this permit, which, in my opinion, is it's a lot of responsibility. And we could what if things to death. But I say if it could happen, it will happen, so I think it's a very legitimate concern.
Commissioner McAdoo?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate you coming before us.
Yes, sir.
But I don't want another Candy Crush.
No, I agree with that. I don't think that's what this is.
I's dotted, T's crossed, check from A to Z before we make any determination or put anything out in the public. Because we just got through paying out $406,000 on a whim of what I call just an estimate or just a quick deal. So before you come back to us with some details, you make sure you talk to that county attorney and see if it's something we can put out here to the public. Because I don't want you to bring nothing before me that's going to get me in that situation again.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, I think that I kind of agree with Commissioner Rather. This is very important. But I also think that it needs to be, Commissioner McAdoo, this needs to, we need to hear and make sure that you have a representative in the state who's going to carry this, because it's a state issue, really. But if you're asking for a resolution from this committee, then I agree with Commissioner McAdoo. It needs to be solid, and I suggest that you get with our county attorney and work on the words as to what you want to do in this resolution, and then bring it back to us, and then we'll discuss that, and then we'll either pass that to the commission or we won't. But I think it's, I admit, I commend you on what you're trying to do. I agree with you. However, there's still, there's state law, and we don't make laws.
Absolutely.
So that is, get with our county attorney and then bring this back to us, and then we'll discuss this in a more detailed movement. Is that good?
Sounds good. Nick, do you got anything? You want to? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other business? Since there's none, we are, whoa. One more. We will not have a meeting in July. We will not have a meeting in July. Our next scheduled meeting is August 2nd. I'm pretty known for being pretty thorough, and I had a bad night. So have a good one, and this meeting is adjourned.